Greetings, Commanders. Today we are doing a little bit of a different video. It's not going to be necessarily a breakdown or a full explanation of anything specific. I'm not going to try and rush through it too much. I just want to touch on some subjects that I want to put out there, and I do sometimes talk about them in the line chat, sometimes on Discord, maybe on Reddit you'll see it too, but there's a lot going on in this game that I can't put in a video without totally derailing what that video is supposed to be about. So for those of you that have been around since I started this channel 80-something videos ago and have seen the evolution of what these videos became, we used to just be like a no voice, no video, free soundtrack on YouTube, upload some battles, and that was it, to breaking down, what commanders can do, showing off certain skills, the best of, highlights, stuff like that, to a full-blown, we've got a community, we got a series, we've got involvement. There's the whole game meta is changing because of our channel. Our community is doing a lot out there, and I've had a lot of fun with it. That's kind of why I keep going. That's why I keep putting in all the time and the work. It's so much more interesting than what this game was like, 6 months ago. So it's added a lot of value there, but I wanted to kind of catch you guys up on what's going on with the channel, and not necessarily my personal life, because that's something I'll never cover. There's two things I'll never talk about: what I do for an occupation outside of this, and how much I've spent. That's just two things I'll never answer. I think it's more fun to, just let the illusion stand. Who cares? Who cares, right? You find out what the biggest, best player in the game does. Does it really matter? I can tell you that a lot of the people that do spend on this game, the money they've spent doesn't bother them at all. They could walk away from this game tomorrow, and someone said, "What about all the money spent?" They don't care. They spent more on a weekend buying fish in a market, or in a gambling bet they made on a roulette table. It doesn't matter to them. So it's a whole different ballgame for people like us who haven't spent the crazy amounts of money that other people have. And that's why it's just something I don't want to answer. It's just like, this is my entertainment. I've spent a lot of my different hobbies, and this is definitely just part of that. So anyway, it's something that comes up, and there's no point in asking. It's just not going to happen. I'm not going to talk about it. But I want to take this conversation into where the game is now, and how it's fully fleshed out. Like, we have figured out the meta, right? We've figured out the disappointment with the developers. Right now, the way I play my account is very much like bullet-centric, and I guess I'm going down into a concept of a video idea I have, where that's not really where I wanted to take this talk. But I guess the whole point of this video, maybe series, maybe I'll do a couple like this, with these fireside chats where it's just like getting caught up on the game without having to read 400 messages online. I think that's where all right, let's just go down that route. So one of the biggest problems with the way I play this game is I'm not a boss commander. I've never been a boss on my server. I've never ran a golem. I've never ran a Stella. I wasn't around during the time of like just tier 2 dominates everything with the biggest leadership commander and everyone's afraid of you. I was always the number 5, the number 7. I was always just in the shadows. I was always relevant. No one messed with me. Well, they did mess with me. They didn't mess with me long, but I've always played the game really smart because I wasn't going to outspend other guys. It just wasn't going to happen. I wanted to let them think they were hiding behind the illusion that money is power in this game. And to an extent it does, right? Money will get you places in this game. There is a pay-to-win aspect. Huge. There's a huge pay-to-win aspect, right? But there is a way to play smart. And that's the fun way to play. And the way I've been doing it is with Bullet. And I think that was probably the most discouraging thing for a lot of players up until 6 months ago. It was like, I can't compete with these guys. How do I get, 300 tier 7 per slot without farming for 2 years, and then without just buying resource packs? So Bullet was a way of doing that. Bullet was a way of saying, I have a commander where I don't need all the best in slot gear. I don't need to have level 40 items. I don't need to have 30% on all my gems. I don't need to have advanced troops 9 and 10. I don't need to have 300,000 leadership with max troops per slots. There's only a couple people in the game that have 100,000 leadership and full tier 10. Literally less than a dozen people. And now with commanders hitting 800,000, you can't have 800,000 of tier 11. Even the number top 1 and 2 spenders in the game don't even have 2 full slots at 800,000 leadership each. So troops are a real problem in this game because they're so expensive. And when you lose them, the cost is so high. Like, I just ran into some Stella, and I'm healing 2 of these ships, and it's 10% of their value, but they're over the 200 healing cap, if you know what that is. And it's 1.65 million, so it cost me about 350,000 food parts, some unlimited crystals, which straight up just cost real money, right? I mean, unlimited crystals cost real money, or you can craft them now. It didn't used to be that way, but it still costs. It's a cost, right? Just for playing the game, just for having fun, just for going and attacking somebody. And it's like, you can't scout a tile, wait for the scout to come back, set up your army, set all the troops up in less than 4 seconds. You just can't do it. It takes minutes to do that. And on my server, when you sit unshielded, you get hit. You get hit hard. They can take 600,000 troops if they have 300 or 200,000 leadership. And you don't garrison yourself because you'll get destroyed. You can put small garrisons and stuff, with tier suppression, just a couple units of tier 10 up front with rangers in the back or something. But this was my old base here in TNT. Everyone was shielded all the time for 3 months straight. No one left this thing, and then we'd reinforce the base from the enemies, and that was before I switched guilds. And I'm thankful I did, because that guild was falling apart, And that's another whole other video I'd like to talk about, is this game, you spend so much time. Really, your first year of playing this game is just learning, Don't get caught up in the idea that, like, you are a member of a certain guild until you have a reason for being there. What has that guild done for you? What have you done for that guild? What have the members done for that guild? This is a very strong PvP, it's either me or you, every man for himself kind of game. But at the same time, if you play it like a business and you work together, you can do things that most people cannot do, that require a certain amount of organization and leadership. And finding a good leader, a good guild, is really hard to do. Finding 4 or 5 people that are even willing to do the work is hard to do. If you have too many rules, if you have too many people complaining, your leaders can only take so much of that shit until they don't want to log on anymore. So there's a weird way to playing it, it's like, it's almost good to have asshole leaders. And this game does get its fair share of assholes. People that just say, oh, you don't like it, too fucking bad. This is just the way it is. It's not nice, it's not sweet, it's just the way it is. You don't like it? Well, hate me. But either way, this is the best it's going to get. And this is the best long-term strategy. It's not perfect, but it's the best we got. And that's sometimes the best way to play it. It's certainly worked out on our server. But you can just look around. Look at all these people. And I guarantee you, if any single one of these people in TNT or CKH or USB or My Guild God, if any one of us got caught without a shield, there's 5-6 players that would instantly spend 2,000 or 3,000 gold to instantly jump next to you, and they would just start sending their biggest commander with rangers, and they'd zero you. And maybe they don't get through your whole army before your hull breaks. You log back in, you realize how much damage you took. You have 40 attacks, and it's just like, damn, there goes my whole army. But that happens if your shield goes down. But anyway, we're rambling now. Let's get back to the subject at hand, and that is if you watch my videos and you know my timestamps, I went through 370,000 gold in the last 24 hours. I'm a bullet player. I don't need to spend melange, but we're having a buy one get one melange, and we're having a success rate increase event. So I have the option. What I do, and this is something. If you've made it this far in this video, I'm going to give you a little gem that I don't normally give people. But for the people that are sticking around having a Melt Fireside chat, I'll let you know some things that I don't normally tell people, that maybe some people wouldn't appreciate me telling you. But you made it this far, I'll let you guys know something special I do in the way I organize my commanders, and maybe it'll help you organize your commanders or how you want to play the game. But it's certainly a perspective on a player at my current level, and that does change. My game experience changes every month the way I play this game. But I will introduce you to my commander list and how I use them and why I use them. And I think you might be able to draw some insight from that, because I think it's interesting. So these are my main 5. Now, really, I have main 4. I happen to keep Golem in this list, but I intermix them with Stella, because I just level their skills up and I use them, and they're very potent commanders. And there was a add leadership event a while back, and I was able to dump 3,600 mags into them for at 60% success, and then it caps off at 60%. So I just left him there because I knew one day I'm going to get this golem bigger. I am never going to absorb this golem, right? And his skills are really low, so I'm slowly getting those up. No rush. I'm not switching over to golem soon. And I reserve the right to switch over to Golem one day. And if I do, I'll gold rush his skills to 50 real fast. I don't care. Because the amount of time I have into all of the leadership and the troops that he'll be using, it's worth the gold investment because of all the other stuff I've invested just to let him even have that many troops. Because the troops are worth so much that for me, it's worth it to just waste the gold to level his skills up because of how useful they are. But I keep Golem in this lineup. But really, he's interchangeable. I don't really need him. I use him to farm tiles sometimes. Like I use him other commanders just as often. I don't even go through the headache. If it's late at night, I'm about to go to sleep. I'll just whatever commander's there, I'll throw him out there. But he's kind of my interchangeable, and same with Stella. They're interchangeable. But these other 4 commanders, these are my combat commanders. I use these guys all the time in a fight. So if you ever see me go to the other side of the map and you see like a bunch of red lines coming to me, that's people scouting me. Sometimes you see armies attacking me, and you'll see tons of blue lines, or depending on the color, coming to me from my side. And those are my allies sending me garrisons. They're sending me weenies. They're sending me 1-slot tier suppression. They're sending me 1-slot bust. They're sending me front row tier suppression. They're sending me ignore tier suppression commanders. They're sending me whatever I'm asking for. I'll just be calling it out in guild, like send me this, send me this, send me this. And some of the guys just know. They know to send me a rotation. I could just count on them to constantly send a rotation. So that means when I'm attacking, I'm a force to be reckoned with. I'm not one guy with one garrison. They can't scout me and see, oh, he just got one big bullet with all rangers. All you got to do for that is just send a small commander with strength and weakened and just dodge him, or just send like a small leadership commander with just high tier and just kind of go over him and hope he doesn't get lucky with ghost cannon. And that's a viable strategy. But the problem is how do you quickly, if you have 100,000 leadership, how do you send a full march without having to go, okay, pick the commander, this is what I mean. Like, okay, so someone sees me, they get a report, the scan comes in, they go, okay, instead of, they click on my ship, or they click on me and they go, we'll use a tile so I don't break my shield. They'll say, okay, attack Melt, and then they'll say, choose a commander, and then they'll say, choose an army. Done. Boom, they're attacking now. Right? Boom. That quick. How long is it? 2-3 seconds? Right? So that's how you do this, right? I have 2 troops, and this is still part of the you're welcome for staying this long video. I instantly send, I know I have 20% or 17% ignore tier suppression, and it's a small amount of troops. It's not a tremendous amount, but it's instant. It makes that whatever I'm attacking, whoever's attacking me, have to respond quickly. I have to constantly keep changing to address that. But if, let's say I wanted to send Rogers, right? Rogers has 10,000 leadership. If I do that same march, I don't want to send 22 of each slot. That's super expensive to repair if I'm not in a Galactic campaign. Even in Galactic campaign, that's a tremendous healing repair, and it takes a lot of time, right? I don't want to give up that many points if I lose, because 1-slot Golem could destroy this. So that's why I keep a very small hoodoo. It's a tiny little hoodoo, just 1,000 leadership, but look at his skills. They're not even that high up, but hoodoo is such a powerful commander with Death Rattle that when someone wants to attack me, they don't want to send, let's say it's me, for example, and I wanted to attack this person who happens to be a private bank. It's a commander. I don't know what's garrisoned. I see his shields down. I'm going to speed march into him. I'm going to choose my big commander, but I'm not going to auto-deploy. I'm not going to send 50 billion worth of resources or whatever that is. And it's not 50. It's more like a billion or 2 worth of resources. Maybe 500,000. It's 500 million something. Okay, anyway. I'm not going to send that because I don't know what he has there. He might have just a plasma with a couple of units just to blow those up and do substantial damage. He might have a bigger commander garrison from someone I don't know about. He might just have a black hole. I don't need to send that much. That's a huge risk. If I had lost all this, I'd be zeroed in a sense. I'd lose all my big troops. So what do? Well, it's 222,000 leadership. I send Rangers. Rangers are cheap. They're easy to heal. If I did lose everything, not the end of the world. At least I didn't lose all my tier 10. But if I do hit him, I instantly massacre at least 666,000 Rangers if he's not defending, which most people don't. I take a ton of troops, and because it's bullet, I could ignore tier suppression if he's running just a tiny garrison of plasma with just a couple of tier 10 or something. I can get lucky and ghost cannon past him. But I have that kind of versatility with bullet, and garrison something like that. Most commanders don't have that. If you have a golem with 222,000 and you want to just send all Rangers or all tier 1 airships, hummingbirds, that's fine. But if that person just has 1 row of tier 10 with 1 unit per and tier suppression, that golem's going to lose 222,000 per slot of all those units. Bullet can break through that. Most of the time he does. Sometimes I don't. That's not fun. But sometimes I don't. But that's the way I'm currently playing the game, and I don't have to worry about spending all my melange on all these other things. And a lot of people ask me, what commander should I play? And the answer is honestly, if you're asking me that question, you probably haven't been playing this game very long, and if you have, you don't have enough friends to talk about it with. But I recommend starting off with a commander that's like Rock, like Bullet, who are ignore tier suppression 40% commanders. You don't have to overcommit to your army. If you've ever lost your army, raise your hand. You know that pain. You remember how many times you've lost a full army or half an army. With these commanders, you can play every day, all day, just sending tier 1 and messing people up and scaring the crap out of them and just having a good time, without having a heart attack every time you send a march. But commanders like Golem, you really do have to send. You can send full marches of tier 1 in just one slot of tier 10, right? Much lower risk, But if you're an attacker and you're going against somebody that's the same level as you, which is mostly what you do, let's say you're attacking somebody, right, and you have your Golem here, you can't send that or all hummingbirds. You'll send not the first slot, you'll send the second slot. You'll send the second slot and say, okay, well, he'll have first strike, so I don't want to put all my troops in slot 1 because I don't know what he has there, and if I scout him, he's going to shield or whatever. So you'll do something like that. Well, that's a great formation, but you know what that falls victim to? Hoodoo. Because if Hoodoo hits that stack of Rangers, he kills all the airships, or 40% of them, or whatever that death rattle does. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to go watch the Hoodoo, Gan's Hoodoo video, the $1 Million Death Rattle, or the Hoodoo highlight video, or the Hoodoo breakdown video. Because that's what I use mine for. When I see a Golem coming at me, or if I know someone has a big Golem because they went the Golem route, which is a great route, Golem's best commander for attacking in the game. The problem is if you don't want to send your tier 9 in slot 1 against me, you don't do that to me because I run Bullet, and I'll put Bullet on my arc with just Rangers in slot 1 to see if someone's dumb enough to do that. And occasionally I do catch people, but I got a 40% chance to hit a Ghost Cannon. I basically risk nothing but tier 1, and I'll wipe a whole slot of yours. So you have to send in tier 2, or slot 2. And when you send in slot 2, I have Hoodoo there to destroy your slot 1. So then people get smart and they go, all right, well, if I only send one unit there, your Hoodoo will one-shot that slot, but the damage is only based off of that one unit. But then you're forgetting, Hoodoo does have a Chain Blast, 40% chance to hit the whole row. He also has an Awakening, full chance to hit the row. Now you go, all right, well then I'll do it like that. Now, if you do land your Chain Blast or whatever, I'll still come through on my second slot, and you won't be able to do damage before I get to do full damage on my first slot. I'm sorry. What I'm saying is that even if I have Hoodoo there and he destroys this guy, this Ranger in slot 1 and Ranger in slot 3, it won't do much damage to those 8 Genesis because it's based off the HP of the Rangers in slots 1 and 3 that died. But if they were a full stack, it would do more damage to slot 2. So that would be, you think, I'm safe that way. But then you forget, maybe you do get a nice big Awakening off on your Golem. Maybe you do get a nice hard crush and kill some of my tier, or some of my high tier on my Hoodoo garrison. But you forget, I also run Libra, and I also run Gemini, and I also run Leo, and I mix my jewels up. I run Scorpio. So if I do trigger a double strike on my first turn, I might hit the back row. Now you got to think, okay, well then maybe I shouldn't put that there in case he gets a lucky back row strike. Next thing you know, you're attacking me with 3 full slots. And there's still a risk involved because I have instantly garrisoned, right? I instantly garrison this. I don't even think twice about it. Instantly I do that. I'm going to be triggering my Libra in all those slots. So it's a really fun way to look at that matchup. So when Golems do that, they've started just sending literally they're like, I don't even know if I want to risk anything. I'll just send 1 unit in a full slot. And it's just like, why? I mean, yeah, if you got a huge commander, you'll still pillage me hard, But it's like, that's it. You can't send all the Rangers because you risk getting messed up by Hoodoo and losing your whole slot. But at least at that chance, he knows for sure he will get a full shot off on his second stack there. No risk, but very lower risk, but lower reward. And if I see them doing that, that's what my Hoodoo's for. That's what my Bullet's for. I'll put Bullet there. I mean, I'll put Bullet. If someone wants to do something like that to me, I'll just do this. I won't actually do it. I'll do something different. I'll preload the slot instead of doing this slowly. See how long this taking? It takes 8 seconds. But what I don't want to do is I don't want to one-shot the ship, right? Because I'll go first if I Gemini or if I bullet ghost cannon and attack, I'll destroy his ship. I'll do something like this, where I know for sure he'll get a first strike off and he'll kill my slot 2. But if he doesn't get an awakening, or if he doesn't hit a Gemini, then my 5th slot has a chance to ghost cannon him, you know. And it does happen 40% of the time. No, 20% of the time. But 1 in 5 chance. You really want to risk a whole slot of your primary army on a 1 in 5 chance? Like I said, even the biggest commanders in the game with the most expensive troops can't even fill a full slot with their highest tier. So that's kind of where the meta went. Now, I haven't even talked about Rogers, right? I haven't even talked about Plasma and how I use them. And maybe I'll save that for another video, because those do take a little bit more explaining. But just small troop marches, you know? It's really what it comes down to. Rogers, I run with dodge gear. Dodge and defense gear. Look at that. Strength and weakened. If you got infantry without enough accuracy, you're not hitting me. You know? There it is. Dodge, dodge. You know, it's tier suppression, because I got tier 10 I got tier 10 infantry, and they use airships. And then eternal barriers just to survive. I don't need the damage. I'll get the damage later from Tyrant Cometh. I just need to survive the first round so I go immune. Scary. Super scary. All I got to do is just put 1 tier 10 per slot, and you better not run into my Rogers, because you'll be feeling it. But, you know, so that's kind of where the game's at right now. And, I don't know. It's kind of something I just wanted to talk about. There's a lot going on right now with figuring out ghost cannon and accuracy and all that stuff. But, I don't know. That was a bit of a ramble. I hope it answers a lot of questions about, or gives people a wider view of how this game is played. If you sat through this video and kind of mindlessly played the game and listened to me in the background, you probably didn't get much out of this. But there is a lot to be said in this video, and the closer you are to having a similar game experience to me, the more you'll understand it. Because I'm sure 6 months ago or a year ago, if I'd have saw this video, I'd have been like, yeah, well, if someone's just going to garrison Hoodoo, I'm just going to send a full march in slot 1 no matter what. Yeah, I'll lose some, but I'll win in the long run. And the answer is like, yeah, you might. You might. But 9 out of 10 times, maybe. You really want to risk your army once a week? You know how long it takes to build 1,000 tier 10 infantry? You know how much farming that is? I could do the math for you. I think I did it once. It was like 500 million. That's what it is. 1,100, 1,200 of those. I think it's about 400 or 500 million. Maybe maybe more. I think it might be a whole straight up 800 million. I don't even know. It's so much. It's so much, guys. You can only realistically farm like 10 million food and parts a day. It's at most 10 million food at most, you know. So it's a tremendous amount of stuff, a tremendous amount of resources, and tremendous amounts of risk. So if you really haven't committed to anything, don't try to be the golem on your server yet, you know. Have fun playing Blader. If you're an airship commander, take Blader. Go with Hummingbirds tier 1. Level up that pounce skill. He's got ignore tier suppression. He's a monster ramp commander. He ramps up over time. He gets stronger and stronger as he triggers his Call of the Hunt skill. He's fantastic. If you're a Walker commander, go with Rock. All you got to use is tier 1 Yetis. You know, who cares? You say you have a 40k Rock and you lose 40,000 Yetis per slot. You can rebuild that in a few days. You cannot rebuild that in tier 7. Anyone that's had to heal 50 tier 7 knows that they don't like fighting with their army anymore. You only have to do it once. So if you're not sure where the game is at, and you're not sure how much gear you want to invest into, you're not sure what kind of advanced infantry you want to do, pick up Rock, Bullet, Blader, Maruko. Play ignore tier suppression for a while. Low risk, high reward. You know, it takes a lot of stress off the plate, and it's so easy to gear these commanders. Right? What do I use? I use what is this? Voltar. Those are cheap, and this is the least used of the 3 legendary faction pants. Chest is up for totally your choice. Doesn't matter, because I'm using Rangers. The Rangers don't dodge anyway. I don't need Void there. I just, you know, I can use Death Knight too, or Black Knight. I can use Body of Phoenix. Fact is it doesn't affect Ghost Cannon. Ghost Cannon's everything in this build. When it comes to weapons, I use Skywalkers. I use Apocalyptors. You know, I use Soul Eaters. Realistically, Soul Eaters are best in slot. They have more accuracy than Skywalkers, but I just didn't want to take a Soul Eater up to level 25. I knew I was always going to use Skywalker. Always. Because I'm not going to be Bullet forever. Right? The meta's going to change eventually. But Soul Eaters, you know, they're the best in slot. And they're cheap. Okay? Eye of the Abyss has the highest accuracy. If you don't like that, get a Ghost Mask. If you can't afford it yet, well, just wait a while. You know, use a Dodge Thalamus, use a Defense Thalamus. It won't do much for you, but you don't necessarily need it yet. Just get accuracy on your gems. Maybe dodge and HP in the other spots. Doesn't matter. You're not going to use it. Just accuracy is everything. Yeah, Gemini is okay. Pisces is best. Pisces is the best gem because you can go immune, but it's not going to help your ghost cannon. Just let you survive around, lose less rangers. But it's such an easy build, and Rock's the same way. I did a Rock breakdown video, and you can kind of see how I did it there. But that's kind of the state of the game right now, guys. It's you know, there's 4 very versatile commanders to use in different scenarios, and you need to use them. You need your opponents to know, because you usually pick fights with the same people. You know, they bookmark you. You keep an eye on them. They're your same power. They're your enemy. Everyone has their villain. They could think of 3 people they're fighting with all the time. You know what commanders they use. Start mixing it up. And when you do mix it up, see how they respond. If they succeed, they'll use that matchup again. Well, mix it up on them. If you know what matchup they're using, you know, send something that counters their matchup. Anticipate what they're going to do. So maybe send the march they already beat you with. They'll anticipate it by, you know, using the march they used last time, and then follow it up by something that counters that march. Speed march it in right before the other army gets there, and pull the first army back. You know, have some fun with it. Mix it up. Anyway, that was a bit of a fireside melt rambling chat that I've been just wanting to get off my chest for a while, and I get a lot of questions like, should I play this commander, or why is Bullet not working for me, and you know, who's the best commander now, and there's just so much stuff. And the fact of the matter is like, Rogers and Plasma and Bullet and Rock and Hoodoo have so much versatility that everyone should be using Hoodoo. You should. If you're a late game player, if you don't have airships maxed or Walker maxed, he's not going to do anything for you. But you should always have at least 2 researches maxed eventually. I have airships, so that's why I use airships on Hoodoo, because they trigger his skills. But yeah, everyone should be doing Hoodoo. Everyone should be running Plasma. Make your opponents afraid of you, right? They should know that you have a Plasma there, so you should be afraid of sending too big of a march. Rogers is great for killing monsters. You don't even need to get him to 10,000 leadership. Just 3,000, 4,000. Put some dodge gear on him. Level up his defensive stance. And level up these other 2 things later. They're not that important. Tyrant Cometh is nice, but it's really just this skill. You should have this in your repertoire. You know, you should have these commanders. Bullet, Rogers, Plasma, Rock, Hoodoo. You know, so anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd like to hear your guys' input. If I missed anything, check the comments below or the description. I may have added poignant information there. But yeah, so thanks for being a part of this channel. It's been a long 3 months, and we're coming up on our 100th video, and I'm still looking for good suggestions. I keep asking, but I'm not getting a lot of feedback. So if you want to throw some feedback in, I'm happy to hear it. And yeah, thanks for watching this video. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye. Hey guys, chiming in at the end of this video because I spent a fair amount of time talking about Hoodoo and his potential as a utility commander, and one of our allies was out here kind of minding his own business, and this is just like 3 hours later after his shield fell off. Someone reported in guild chat. They said, "Oh, so-and-so's shield is down. You know, help him out." And there he is. Well, I was like, all right, I'll send my Hoodoo over there. I didn't even commit a full army of Hoodoo. I just sent just a couple troops. And eventually, the guys in our server, as promised, they came and found him. So here's the first guy. He shows up, sends a bunch of tier 2. They didn't have time to scout, right? They didn't know. And then he runs right into my Hoodoo. I catch him there. Boom. Decent points there for the kill event. Saturday. All right. And then, so my Hoodoo's still there. You know, in hindsight, I wish I would have committed more troops, but you just never know. You know, someone might just send a black hole bomb level 4 and just kill me. And it's kill event. They will do that on kill event just to get a bunch of points, because those tier 9 airships, they do trigger walkers, and they do get a lot of points. Well, then anyway, another person, DCL, sent his Rogers with gear and everything. Just, man, Walker, look at this. Look at this awakening with a ton of accuracy. Just, bam, crushed him. Yeah, Rogers, he didn't send the right Rogers march. That's just not how you play Rogers. But nothing big there, decent points. I'm glad I didn't lose too much, but I had first strike, you know, I'm garrisoning. And then right when I'm about to pull back, because I know this is a smart player, I'm like, I'm going to pull back. He's going to send something to kill me real fast, just a 1-slot golem or something. Then he sends his golem, but he sent him wrong. Just like I said, you've got to be careful. Remember, I said, oh, he's only going to send a couple troops in slot 1, but then he puts his troops in slot 2. But he forgot to put only 1 troop in slot 3, and he got hit. Boom! Oh, Lord! Oh, Lord! That's 100. 100 serious. Because of all those Rangers blowing up, his airships got hit. The Awakening killed the troops on the far side. That's Hoodoo, man. He is just nasty. Just nasty. So if you don't run Hoodoo, you should. You certainly should. Look at that. Right to the top, baby. All right. All right, bye.